So I just watched Conference Reports video about big spiritual science, and he's talking about his problem with trying to set up science as spirituality because how it's it would not be the kind of spirituality that involves serving others or like service to the poor and how we why do we spend all this money on the Large Hadron Collider or the Hubble Space Telescope when we could spend that money feeding hungry people. Um, and I see this argument put forward a lot in terms of you know how could this money be better spent. Um, and I really think that's kind of missing the point. And by the way, with that, thank you for this because it's actually I've been wanting to get. I've been doing a lot of videos lately about like spirituality and religion. I've been wanting to get back onto like politics and economics, which is kind of my other bread and butter. Um, but I mean, I think a lot of the sort of attitude that we need to spend a lot of money to solve poverty. Kind of, I think it reinforces this idea we have about poverty that it's the young person's either their fault or just their bad luck that causes poverty when or kind of a sort of implicit acceptance that poverty is somehow natural, which I would say it isn't. The real underlying thing about poverty is that in many ways it is an institutional fact, not a natural fact. Um, I've made a lot of videos about Henry George and his ideas about how the privatization of land is what causes wealth to be sort of sucked up from society into the hands of a few uh, wealthy landowners and rentiers, um, and how if we were just able to share the rents of land through land value taxation, um, then there would basically be no more poverty as we know it. Um, and that doesn't even have to mean like using those rents to give money to everyone. Is actually uh, just by the very fact of like using the rents for public purposes, then that would actually reduce the kind of inequality that causes wealth to get sucked up by a select few. Um, but beyond that, though, I think if you look at the on a global scale, um, the fact is that most of the third world is actually heavily in debt to the first world, and a lot of governments that could use their they could use their money to improve their own country, instead have to tax their citizens and use that money to send money to the IMF or the World Bank. Yeah, and so there's all this. And so I mean, debt cancellation would be such a huge thing for the third world, and yeah, and so it's not that we have to give all this money to them. We just have to stop taking it. Yeah, that I think is a hard truth for people to accept. Yeah, the real I think a lot of people are pretty willing to give money to to help the poor, um, but it's harder for them to accept that they have some complicity in them being poor to begin with. That they're part of a system that created that poverty. Um, so I guess I'll leave it at that for now. Peace.